Hello, people. Welcome. Hi, pretty Roxy. Waiting for Melissa to get here. She's co hosting with me. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Yes, there's Melissa. Let's see if we can get her on here. There she
Oh,
is. Hey.
hi. Extra spooky vibes with the lighting and my homie right here.
Perfect spooky vibes. All for the Halloween spookiness. All right. Well, let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to this month's Creepy Kingdom Book Club. This month we read Fairest of All by Serena Valentino, A Tale of the Evil Queen. Hopefully people read it. Hey, James, all the book clubbers. Hi, Erica. What's up? Yeah, we have a good little crew going. A good crew going. All right. Well, to start off, just to let everybody know, this is a spoiler discussion and review. So if you
You had a
didn't
moment
read
to read
the
the
book, yeah. If you didn't read it, hopefully you like spoilers. And if you did read it, then we are ready to talk about it because we have some things, as Melissa said earlier today, we have some things to talk about in this book. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the way we're going to structure this is I sort of have like top 5 moments, key points that I want us to kind of talk about. We'll also kind of give like our impressions, our overall review of what we think about the book. But I want folks to chime in, talk about what you thought about the book. If you have questions, there should be somewhere a question button. Erica, you might need to help folks out with this because I think she was the only person when we did our test run that was able to find this question button. But what it does is it allows you to sort of ask a question or pose a thought or whatever, and it goes into a separate queue, so it's not just flooding through the chat. You're able to sort of ask a question that gets queued up, and then we're able to go and refer to it so it won't get lost in the shuffle of the comments. So if somebody figures out how to do that, if you can let everybody know, that'd be great and very, very helpful for us. But yeah. Oh, see, yeah, Roxy said she doesn't have a question button. Erica, do you remember where you found that question button?
in a box.
Where, is it next to like the comment thing?
Yeah, I don't see anything either.
That's weird. So on my end, I have a little question box, but it only allows me to like pull up the questions to answer them. It doesn't, yeah. Oh, that's weird. I guess it's just not there now. That's weird. Even though I have a button to open the questions and respond to them. That's very strange. All right. It's by the message button. It replaced the heart. Oh, that's weird. Well, we'll just do our best to try to keep up with the chat then. And
Uh,
hopefully questions and comments don't get lost in the shuffle. All right. So let's hop into it. Let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to talk about and get started with. So in case you didn't read the book and you're here for the spoilers, for the spoiler tea. Yes, Instagram is a jerk, James. You're right. In case you're just here for the tea on the Evil Queen, the book is basically about, it's the retelling of the Snow White story. Yes, the Evil Queen rules. She's awesome. It's a retelling of Snow White's story, but from the Evil Queen's perspective, so we get to kind of see things from her viewpoint. And the book actually starts before the events of Snow White, so it starts when the Queen first marries Snow White's father, and then we follow her all the way up till her eventual end at the end of the Snow White story. And we all know how that went, especially if you ride the ride at Disneyland. It's a very abrupt ending. So, the first thing is the Evil Queen's relationship with Snow White. I thought was really interesting that there was actually love there between them, and that she actually was a mother figure to Snow White. It wasn't just sort of this stepmom that just came in hating on Snow, that she actually sort of adopted her very, very young when she married Snow's father and actually raised her as her daughter. I don't know. What are your initial thoughts, Melissa, on that sort of opening bit?
Let me see. Okay, I thought it was an interesting take. So basically, how the book put it is the king went into a mirror shop, and then so happens the daughter of the mirror maker was so beautiful, he like automatically fell in love with her because, you know, that's how things happen. Somebody's beautiful, I'm gonna marry this person. And I guess that was, yeah, I guess that's just how it happened. So I'm comparing, I don't know why I'm comparing it so much to how Once Upon a Time handled the Evil Queen. I feel like that was a better interpretation. It made more sense. I'll talk about more of the whole story in general, but it just like, yeah, it's very Disney. Oh, you're beautiful. I fell in love with you. Let's get married. It was one of those.
Yeah.
Real straight up forward, yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting, and we're going to get into that further, that her dad was a mirror maker. Magic mirror. I remember when I was like first reading that, and I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah, that her and Snow kind of had a bond. Yeah, Roxy saying like it was kind of like Once Upon a Time where they had a bond, and then it just sort of got broken through events later on. Mm-hmm. The show was a little more betrayal, but yeah. Yeah, we definitely imagine Regina. Regina's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I have a woman crush on her. She's beautiful.
For sure.
She really is. So yeah, it was interesting to sort of see that, yeah, sort of like quickly fell in love with the king. And that's the other thing that was very heavy in this book, I felt like, was the emphasis on beauty. And it was like everything was just very like vain and focused on looks, and that was the common theme, I think, throughout the whole book, from start to finish, was just that it was just sort of like the king fell in love with the evil queen's looks, and she was gorgeous, and that was sort of like what she came to rest on, was her beauty, and then that's why sort of things crumble later, I think. So yeah, but to start off with, she was really close with Snow. And then the king dies in battle, because their kingdom's at war. I don't know why, but their kingdom is at war. I don't think they had mentioned why they were at war, right? It was just, I don't know, turf territory.
Roxy.
Yes, it was. For those who don't know, the book is heavily inspired by the events of Roxy's life. Her life as the evil queen of the Creepy Kingdom. So yeah, he dies in battle, right? And then, oh wait, let me backtrack back to their wedding. She was gifted a mirror, and there was something spooky about the mirror, and I think we all know where that's going. And then when the king dies in battle is the first time she speaks with the mirror. And let me make sure I'm not jumping ahead of myself here. So we'll go back to the mirror in a second. The other thing that I loved about this book, when Snow's really little, they have a really close relationship. She's very mother figure to Snow, and she tells her bedtime stories. And this was sort of a fangirl squee moment, was she was telling her the bedtime story of Maleficent. And I was like, whoa, do these exist in the same universe? I was like really excited. And spoiler alert, I've read ahead in her other books. They do. So I'm actually really excited. Um, uh, uh, uh. But yeah, there was a Maleficent reference, which I'm really stoked about. So, moving on to some other characters before we come back to the mirror. The Odd Sisters. Melissa, what do you think? Yes, Maleficent is based on a true story.
Yeah.
That's my life story. So Roxy's the evil queen. My life story is Maleficent's story. Hi, Jivon Cupcake. Oh, I'm glad you're loving the series. I'm excited to read some more. Get to the next book, which we will announce what the next book's going to be. But yes, anyway, the Odd Sisters. Melissa, what do you think about these Odd Sisters?
What did it remind me of? Is it Beowulf? Or the Beowulf? I don't know. It just reminded me of the Three Witches. So I don't know if the author got it from Macbeth. Oh, is Macbeth? Yeah.
I thought of Macbeth when I was reading about the Odd Sisters.
Okay. It was one of the books we had to read in school. It just reminded me of those three sisters / witches, whatever they were supposed to be. Just reminded me, like, it seemed kind of like an obvious reference to, like, what did you say? Macbeth?
Macbeth, yeah.
I don't know if that was, her own, or the author's own reference to that. But that just reminded me of that.
It might have been, because they kind of like had a little, I felt like there was a lot of prophecy in there, and especially I think they had told, did they tell the evil queen? I remember she had a dream where she saw herself giving Snow the apple and all that stuff before it actually happened.
Yeah.
And it was like,
I saw that and before it happened.
Yeah. So I feel like they had some premonition power, something that's why I was getting a lot of Macbeth vibes of them just sort of telling the future events, and then because the queen just becomes kind of like obsessed with them, that it sort of manifests itself into reality.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they sent her a vision. I think you're right. Yeah, that they had sent her the vision, and then she foretold and saw herself giving the apple and Snow having a death-like sleep. So, yeah. The Odd Sisters are really interesting.
I mean, they gave her the book, so they know what's in the books. I don't know.
True. Yes. They definitely made sure that vision would happen. Yeah. They put all those things in place. And then they're also, interestingly, they are Snow White's cousins. They're related to her through her father, or on her father's side. So they kind of like get introduced as like visiting family, and then they kind of are causing trouble. Yes, a lot of people would pay really good money for that. That would be amazing. So yeah, I definitely got Macbeth vibes. The other thing I haven't figured out is their motivations of the Odd Sisters, and even like, again, spoilers, I've gone on to read more of this series, which I'm going to backtrack and then reread as we go through the book club. But yeah, they just cause a lot of trouble. And I don't...
I don't know. Is it spoilers? Are they in the other books? Or no?
Is it spoilers to say? I mean, they have their own book. They have a standalone book.
Oh, okay.
If you've looked at the titles of the books, you know they have a standalone book that's just focused on them. I can say that they are woven into all the stories, but I won't say how.
All right. Yeah,
I feel like saving
that was lacking in the book. There was no real motivation versus just like, I'm gonna do this because I'm bored. I don't know.
Right, yeah. Like, let's cause trouble. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured out their deal yet. of what's going on. But it's interesting. All the yeah, yeah. It's not, I don't think it's spoilers to say all the books are connected. So they all exist in the same universe, and these odd sisters just keep showing up and causing trouble in all these various classic Disney stories as we go through them. Um, so yeah, so we will see more of the odd sisters. Um, but yeah, they're very interesting. They remind me of the witches from Macbeth. Don't know what their motivation exactly is. They have in future books. There's some motivation and there's some things you're like okay, but with the Evil Queen, I don't exactly know.
All right. So at least there's something to kind of look forward to reading the other ones.
Yeah, hopefully, I'd like to. Roxy says she feels like we're gonna find out more about their motivations later. I think so too. I think the author purposely set up that this may be my theory. I don't know, but my theory might be that it is really a series about the Odd Sisters and their involvement in all these stories. So, and then culminating, because I think the last book that's come out is their standalone one, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I'll have to check the order of release. But so it might be like their story, and we find out more about them as we go through the villain stories, which will be really interesting. But yeah.
All right. What's the next thing on your list?
The next thing on my list, going back to that mirror, right? And everybody knows that moment after or when she finds out that her husband has died. That moment where she realizes, so the magic mirror comes to life, and we find out that the spirit within the mirror is, dun dun dun, her dad. Spoiler alert. For anyone who's still here for the spoilers and spoiler tea. Yeah, but so her dad has been trapped in this mirror, and it's, from my understanding, it's by the Odd Sisters. The Odd Sisters damned his soul to be trapped in this mirror. And now that he's trapped in this mirror and it has been gifted to the Evil Queen, her dad's soul within this mirror is now her slave and bound to serve her.
Yep.
It's a little bit of shocker. But yeah.
I was like, that was an interesting roundabout way to, I don't know, possess her to become evil, I guess. Like what I told you earlier, what I told Tanisha was that there's a lot of male acceptance and male gaze in the Evil Queen's part. So it was her, because when she was younger, her father would always tell her how ugly she is, that she's worthless, basically. And the mirror, or the slave that is her father in the mirror now, is compelled to always tell the truth. So it's like, I don't know how to explain it. So it's like, I lost my train of thought, sorry.
It happens. Happens to the best of us. Like, he's bound to always tell the truth. So therefore, like, no matter how brutal the truth or reality is, he has to tell her.
Yeah.
Right. And then, like, the male gaze piece, I think we're talking about, like, her obsession with her physical attractiveness.
Yeah, so they did kind of explain it, why she's so obsessed with vanities, because growing up, she was always told she was not beautiful. So in a way, it's kind of showing her father, it's like, look, I am. Everybody else thinks I'm beautiful. So that's literally all she has after her husband died, is her beauty. So I guess that's what also drives her insane and all that stuff.
Yeah, she's just, like, obsessed with it from the... Well, I think, too, it was always something that was her source of power for a long time, right? It was sort of like when she was younger. Um, then a bit of backstory on the evil queen. I think her mother died in childbirth or after she gave birth to her. And so her father harbored a lot of anger towards her, like blaming her for her mother's death, all that kind of stuff. And then her father was very, very verbally abusive to the evil queen, telling her she's ugly, she's hideous, she'll never be as beautiful as her mother, she's the reason her mother's dead, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so then when Snow's father came along, he hyped her up and made her feel beautiful and desirable and wanted and all that good stuff. Yeah, Verona was the only one who was allowed to see her without makeup. That's a good point. She was very like guarded for with her looks, and nobody could see her not made up or done up. Yeah, so she just sort of, it just became like that was the one source of power for her, it seemed like, and that was sort of, she became obsessed with it, and then hence the mirror, mirror on the wall, which isn't mirror, mirror on the wall, it's magic mirror on the wall.
Yeah. It bothers when people get it wrong.
I always have to correct myself. It's magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? And she was just sort of obsessed. And I think part of it was because it's her father in the mirror, that it was this obsession with hearing her father say, "You're the fairest of them all." Like, that's my thing. I think she just wanted to keep hearing her father say it to her every single day. But Snow grows up, goes through this magical transformation called puberty, becomes a beautiful young lady. And I think I kind of liked that they brought the prince in. Like, it wasn't like he just saw her once, like in the Disney movie.
I really like that too, that they kind of were, I guess, seeing each other beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
For the events that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, yeah, that part made more sense versus the king just seeing the queen one time and wanting to marry her. So at least they kind of made up for it with Snow and the prince.
Yeah. Yeah, that they actually had a relationship, and it wasn't just like a one-time, like, oh, you're beautiful, and then the next time I see you, you're unconscious, and I'm going to kiss your unconscious body, and then we're going to get married, because that's how life works. Yeah, so I liked that they kind of made it like more like he came to visit several times and came to see Snow several times, like leading up to it. Yeah, so that they actually were seeing each other and it wasn't just like a sudden thing. And then, of course, the queen, in addition to being obsessed with her looks, was obsessed with Snow. Yeah, what a creeper. Such a creeper. Always coming around the castle. Trying to peep Snow. Such a creep. Well, a lot of Disney princes are kind of creepers when you think about it, because it's like, you knew her for like 24 hours, bro. Like, if that. I don't know. I question a man's intentions if he wants to marry me after 24 hours. I'd be like, just hold on before you know what you're committing to. Just you wait. But yeah, so he, like, the queen was super possessive of Snow, which I thought was interesting. I don't know.
Well, her reasoning kind of made sense because Snow was all the queen had left. So she didn't want Snow to obviously go out, get married, and basically leave her. So they played it out in the book, more of a reason why the queen was so possessive of Snow. It didn't show obviously in the movie because it just showed, oh, I don't like her, we don't know why, just because she's beautiful. But in the book, her possessiveness was because she was afraid of being left alone.
Yeah, that's true. And then Erica brought up a good point that she got rid of Verona first, and then sort of like became ultra attached to Snow because Verona was like her only other companionship, really. And then when Verona was gone, which is Verona's like her assistant, right? Like her,
Yeah.
I don't know, chambermaid, I don't know what to call her. But yeah, Snow was like literally all she had left, and so she became obsessed with Snow to the point. And then when Prince Charming started coming around creeping, is he Prince Charming in Snow White?
I don't think he has a name, does he? He's just a prince.
I feel like I have to Google this now. I don't know. Does the Prince in Snow White have a name? Not the first person to Google it. There you go. Ferdinand.
When the hell was that ever mentioned?
It's never mentioned in the movie, but apparently somewhere in Disney history and canon, his name is Ferdinand. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Good to know.
So Ferdinand comes creeping around, and of course the queen's just like, nah, like you need to back off my daughter. She's all I have left. It's her and I, ride or die, till the end. And because they're young teenagers, their hormones are raging, Snow's like, but Mama, I love him. And disobeys the queen's orders to not see him anymore. And then, of course, that's what leads. Then that's where we're caught up with the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know he is a magic man, Mama. Yes, he's a magic prince. But Daddy, I love him.
That's exactly where you kind of have to. If any of your children say that, just slap them. You're like, this ain't no Disney movie.
This ain't no Disney movie.
Oh, yeah.
At least Frozen was like, you can't marry a man you just met. That's not how life works. And then look at how Prince Hans turned out. Okay, we all know how that went. So, anyway. So then the events unfold, but of course we see them from the queen's perspective. So we don't see Snow with the Seven Dwarfs. Like, we don't get that piece in the book because we already know that piece that was in the movie. So instead we get the queen sort of trying to plot, and then like the internal struggle of, well, yeah, Elsa is a BAMF for sure. I agree. So we see this internal struggle, which I don't know. For me, it felt like a weird struggle of like, I love her, but I want her to die.
She was definitely going through something.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So I didn't read it. I listened to the audiobook. I feel like that's always there's a difference how you interpret media versus listening, reading. How I understood it was that she was I don't know how I understood the queen's motive the whole time is that it kind of seemed like she was a little bit possessed. Because I don't know, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it said something in the book. It said that the three sisters also took the queen's soul or something like that. I don't know. Did I not hear something correctly?
Well, they definitely took the queen's soul, which we will talk about. But they were definitely planting some seeds. That's for sure. I don't know if they were. See, that would be interesting if they were casting spells over her that were sort of like bringing out her worst traits or emotions or, I don't know, feelings, maybe. because it was sort of like the weird. She was definitely jealous of Snow, which we got that from the Disney movie, so that was still there. Was the jealousy of Snow's beauty, and then also the possessiveness of Snow, and like basically like if I can't have her, no one can, kind of thing. So then it became like obsession with killing her.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had listened to the Audible too, and so it definitely, yeah, I see what you're saying, Jivon Cupcake, that like, yeah, they were manipulating her to their agenda, whatever that agenda was, because we don't know. But, yeah, I did get the sense that they were sort of twisting the, I don't know what you call it, turning the dial, twist, I don't know, playing the strings.
Just manipulating her to
Yeah,
do whatever they wanted her to do. I don't know.
yeah, definitely pulling the strings there. Um, yeah, something's going on. So, yeah, so then you're seeing her plotting with the huntsman to go bring the heart. The huntsman can't do it, of course, as we know, and brings her back the pig's heart. And then, uh,
I really do like the how they tied in the box where the heart was supposed to be placed in. Originally, the box was filled with letters from Snow's mom. I really like how they
that's right.
brought that full circle. It was a neat touch.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. That's a good point. And very morbid. Take Snow's box with all the loving letters from her mother and replace it with her torn out heart. Oh, Disney. So yeah. Sorry, trying to make sure we're caught up in the chat and I didn't miss anybody. Yes, Erica, always listen to your elders. I agree. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. Yeah, the evil queen kind of breaks free. Yeah, nothing weird. Yeah. Oh, Disney is just its usual dark, morbid, death-filled self, which is why we love it at Creepy Kingdom. But yeah, so then, we get to the queen giving her the poison, turning into the old hag and giving her the poison apple and putting her to sleep. All the classic Snow White tale plays out exactly the same. And then the end comes our next dun dun dun. So the evil queen, actually ends up taking her own life because she sort of, I guess, freaked out by what she's done and what she's capable of doing, and so she just decides to take her life.
Oh yeah, that's right. The three sisters basically tell the queen, "There's no antidote. You're stuck, ugly forever now."
You're stuck, and she's like, "Oh no." And so yeah, she doesn't have her looks. She doesn't have her snow. She's lost everything, and just is like checking out. So she takes her own life. James is like,
underwater.
He's under spooky lights.
So my spooky light with my spooky homie here. That's a firelight.
Skeleton man. Yeah, so there's no coming back from the spell. The Odd Sisters set her up because the Odd Sisters are pretty evil. Yes, the irony does come super full circle. And yeah, Roxy, I agree I feel like the Odd Sisters had her possessed or had her cursed, because I think that there was somewhere in the book where they like alluded to the evil queen being cursed, or like a curse, her feeling like a curse was upon her or something. And I think it may very well have been the case that the Odd Sisters maybe curse the evil queen somehow.
Yeah, that's what I understood too. So
Yeah.
something.
So we'll see as more gets revealed further into the series about these Odd Sisters and what's going on with them. But yeah, they're not nice. I don't think that's a spoiler to say they're not very nice. So so anyway, so then the very last like mic drop moment, literally the very end of the book, Snow gets married to her prince, happily ever after, and she gets gifted a mirror from an unknown source. And she unwraps this mirror, and it is the magic mirror, except this time the evil queen's soul is trapped in the mirror and now bound to serve Snow. So, what does this mean?
A bad Disney sequel.
Maybe literally Disney is paying Serena to like set them up for new Disney sequels and content. Yes, it definitely was a dun 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 moment. And it kind of made me think like, does this cycle continue? Like, are these Odd Sisters gonna come curse Snow? Is Snow gonna go insane and do some stuff? Is she going to become obsessed with her beauty because that's kind of what her whole story is about being beautiful? I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. What do you think? Like,
Well, I like that the thing the evil queen said to her in the mirror. What did you say? That I love you and I will always love you? Something like that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Some Whitney Houston line. I don't know.
She's like, my little bird.
But
Yeah.
I thought that was a cute touch. So.
I mean, it was definitely nice because I felt like maybe in death. Yeah, that's true, Erica. That's a good point. That the queen's already telling her she's beautiful, she loves her. Yes, the series should be a TV show. It'll be like a prequel to The Descendants. I don't know. But it would be cool as a TV show. It'd be interesting. Like, it would be interesting if, like, it was sort of like a Once Upon a Time-esque series of all these. Yeah, that's a good point. But it was, like, a little more positive because she was, saying that she loves snow and all that good stuff. So maybe it's not, like, a curse that's just on this family now forever. Maybe Snow will have a good relationship with her stepmom trapped in the mirror now instead of in real life or in person. I don't know. But it was interesting. So overall thoughts of the book. What are we thinking? And chime in, folks who read the book, like, what are your thoughts? What are your reviews? What are your reactions? Like, and good and bad. Because I think there's definitely, maybe some weak points of the story or the book too that we can talk about for sure.
Yeah, so what I told you earlier, I asked what was the main demographic for this book? Who is this book for? I mentioned obviously it's for Disney fans who are familiar with the movie. But I'm asking more age-wise, is it young adults? Maybe in the weird phase before young adults? What is that, like between 10 and 13 years old before they start reading young adult novels?
Like tween?
Yeah, tween. That's what it's called. Because it seemed weak, like character development wise. The motive was very two-dimensional. Like I said, I really enjoyed how Once Upon a Time tackled the Evil Queen and why she despised Snow White. It made more sense, more logical sense versus how this book handled it.
Yeah.
But that's just my how I saw it. What
I
did you
feel
think,
it.
Tanisha?
Erica said she found the book in young adults, so I think we have a definitive answer
Okay.
on the age range. And then let's see. I'm trying to keep up with the chat too to see what people are saying. Erica said, "Interesting take. I like that the Queen was similar to Regina from Once Upon a Time." Yeah, kind of. I mean, a little bit of like sort of the starts off in the very like embracing the motherly role and then sort of becomes scorned at Snow later on down the road. Um, I don't know. It definitely. I see what you're saying that it was a very simplified tale. It wasn't. Um, I mean, it added some interesting elements to the original Snow White movie. Like I feel like it fit well with the canon of the pre-established Snow White movie. So I appreciated that it didn't really like change anything or make anything drastically different or new from the movie. Like I feel like if you were to sort of interweave this book into the movie, like it all still lines up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was I feel like it was a very simplified story. Like it could have gotten much darker, more complex.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, the Odd Sisters, I think that was the biggest. When I read Fairest of All and just that book, and I hadn't moved on to any other ones in the series, I was a little frustrated with the Odd Sisters because I just found myself like,
What are they
what did
about?
they want? Yeah,
Yeah,
what do they
why?
want? What are they trying to do? What did they get out of that whole situation? Because I didn't understand like how they won at all. But um, in future stories, they seem to have a little bit more motivation, and you find out more about them. So I feel like it might be just sort of like a, hey, we're just introducing you to these sisters to show you how awful they are, and then we're gonna slowly find stuff out about them and figure out why they're so wicked and evil. Hi, Jim Clothing Art. Did I say that right? Hello.
I think my phone is dying, so if I all of a sudden disappear, you know why.
Yes, they trapped the queen's soul. The poor queen. The poor evil queen. She's now trapped in the mirror for who knows how long. I don't know, I guess until Snow dies. But yeah, I enjoyed the book overall still though. I mean even though like I said it was very simplified. It didn't get nearly as complex as it could have. Um, but I think it was a cool thing to sort of add to the canon of Snow White. And Snow White in general isn't one of my favorite Disney movies. James, you want to know more about the Odd Sisters? Read the book, man. I'm going to rat you out. James didn't read it, you guys. He's just here for the spoiler tea. But he's going to read it. Because we're going to hold him to it. Yeah, the weird. That's what we were talking about. That they're very reminiscent of uh the witches from Macbeth.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was their vibe that they just kind of like appeared and then they just know things and are telling you what's gonna happen. They're very much like the weird sisters from Macbeth, the witches from Macbeth. So I'm excited to read their standalone book and what that's going to all be about. Yeah, James, read the book. Just come in here for the spoilers on the book and you didn't read the book. Got to read it. Now he knows what happened. I mean, it's Snow White. We all know what happens in Snow White, but it's from the Queen's perspective. So you get to find out from her perspective what happened and how it happened.
Yeah. It's a good concept. I love the people are, writing these, because I think there's another author out there who did something similar. For other, I don't know if it's the same author or a different one. I saw just different ones in the bookstore. So
What's
other
the
people have
Twisted Tales
tackled
series?
similar things. I don't remember names, but
Oh, okay. I was telling James actually, so I want to still work through the villain series. And then after that, James was talking about Harry Potter. Well, you should read Harry Potter too, because now, like, what are you doing? What are you doing not reading Harry Potter? There's one from Hook. Is that the Twisted Tales, Erica, or is that I don't think the Hook one's in the villain series, is it? There's So what I'm talking about, so there's the villain series by Serena Valentino. It's the Odd Sisters tales through the different villain story. And then there's another series that's called Twisted Tales, and the concept behind that series is
yeah,
like,
I think who you said, yeah, Twisted Tales, Tanisha.
yeah, they change one thing. So they'll say like, what if, I'm making it up, I don't know, but it'll be like, what if the Beast was the evil one and not Gaston? Or like which arguably he could be the evil one. Stockholm Syndrome. We won't get into that. That's for next month's book club. Wink, wink. Um, or what if the Prince and Ariel never kissed, and so whatever happened, or like that kind of thing. Like it's sort of like if one thing was different, like how would the story have played out differently, or like that kind of thing. So I do want to read those too. I think those would be really, really cool to dive into because, of course, we Disney round here. So the Beast, arguably, the Beast is kind of evil, right? I don't. I feel like next month's book club is going to be really interesting because I'll announce it here and now for folks who are still in the live stream. And we'll announce it on social media too that next month we're reading The Beast Within, which is the next book in the series. And it's basically told from the Beast's perspective. So it's still Beauty and the Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast's story. It's still Beauty and the Beast, but it's told from the Beast's perspective. So that will be very interesting, and I am excited to dive deep on. Is the Beast the bad guy?
Yeah.
Was Gaston the bad guy? Were they both the bad guy?
Is Belle
the bad guy? Is Lumiere the bad guy? That would be an interesting twist. But yeah. Oh, okay. Lost Boy, the true story of Captain Hook. Okay, all right. We'll have to add that to our book club to read list too. It's very long. I have a long book club list between the villain series and then the Twisted Tales series. And then I also want to read some like horror books too. Yes. That's a good point, Roxy. I would probably have a really hard time reading from Gaston's perspective because he's such a douche. I would never want to be in Gaston's head for an entire book. Every male in that story is the bad guy.
Except her dad.
Oh yeah, her dad was he was a good man. Good man. He just wants to invent things. He's a bit of an oddball, so we all love him. Yeah, that MF has gotta go. Roxy has a point. He's gotta go. Well, and he does go if you watch Beauty and the Beast. That's not a spoiler, I think, at this point. It came out in, like, what, 89?
91?
91? Maybe it was 91. I'm thinking of Little Mermaid came out in 89. It came out in 91.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So, yeah. So our next one is The Beast Within. And we'll be discussing that next month and hopefully doing some stuff on social media. I have to get creative. Like, the social media thing's kind of not new, but, like, I don't know.
Especially Maurice, that's the way.
You think Maurice is the worst, James? Oh my gosh. What spoiler? What spoiler did I give? Beauty and the Beast? That it came out
Oh,
in 91? Spoilers! Oh yeah. So I'm excited for that one. Um, any other thoughts on this month's book? What are you excited for next month to read? I think I got everybody's comments. Keeping up with who's in here. So yeah, so we're reading The Beast Within, also by Serena Valentino, next month for November. So we will announce again when our live stream will be for that. So hopefully more folks jump on the book club bandwagon and come read with us. And hopefully James will have read it at that point.
And then Roxy says, I don't like that the queen died. Technically, her soul's alive in the mirror. So
She's technically,
silver lining.
yeah, silver lining, she is eternally bound to a mirror.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the way I'd want to go. Being bound to a mirror.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Beast is sexier as the Beast. Does that make me weird? I feel like when I was a kid and then that scene happened and he turns into the prince, I kind of went, oh.
What?
I don't know. Am I the only one that was disappointed
no.
when he turned back into a human?
What, how the beast looks like as a human?
Yeah.
He looks like those old Renaissance paintings. I know that's what they're trying to do, but I don't know. That doesn't seem appealing to me.
Yeah, I was like, can you turn back? I was like, oh, okay, all right.
And then the queen turned into Mother Gothel. All right.
Wait, what did she say? Let me see. She didn't really die. She fled the country and became Mother Gothel. Spoilers! We're not at that point yet. Roxy?
Oh yeah, isn't there a Mother Gothel book?
There is a Mother Gothel book in this series. So, and, you know, she's my least favorite villain. I'll just put that out there.
Hey, but Roxy has a good theory, because Mother Gothel is all about vanity too, so.
That's true. Maybe they're related.
Oh.
That would be interesting. It's like well, she didn't really talk about siblings, and her mother died giving birth to her, so maybe they're cousins. You have your headcanon, Roxy, but your headcanon might get destroyed as we work our way through the series. I'm sorry. Sorry, apologies in advance. It may not play out the way you want it to. But no. All right. Well, let's see. Any other folks have thoughts on this month's book club until next book club? I think we caught everybody in the chat. So again, we're reading The Beast Within. Hi, Dirty Celebrity. Welcome to the end of our book club chat. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I love me some villains, you know. Any addition or like adding to the canon of Disney villains, I'm all about it. Like I was saying, like we're working our way through the Disney villain series. James
Doesn't know how to read apparently.
There's
pro tip in case you guys don't know. Yeah. There's an app called Overdrive and you can rent audiobooks for free. So that's how I listen to the book.
Oh yeah, especially if you need a library card though, right?
Technically no, because I don't have one. You just need your phone number.
Oh, okay, cool. So there you go. So you can rent or borrow on Overdrive audiobooks for free, James. audiobooks. And honestly, yeah, like Erica said, it was a quick read. On Audible too, it was the actress does great voices. She's like entertaining to listen to. And I think she does the audiobooks for the whole series too.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's definitely accessible. There's different ways that you can join in on the reading. Um, but yeah, I think that about wraps it up. We will see you next month for The Beast Within, and we'll be posting about it and adding it up. Yeah. Any other final thoughts, Melissa?
No, it's just I finally get to read / listen to books I've been wanting to get into. So this is cool.
Yeah, and eventually I'd like to go down the horror path of books. One of the books I'm in the middle of reading right now too is Nosferatu.
Oh.
I'd like to talk to people about that. But yeah. All right. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining us, peeps. Till next month.
Bye.